Hey Tony, it's Friday, and first off, to answer your question of the week, I think the biggest piece of advice I really have would be recruit, recruit, recruit. You're going to need a lot of people, especially when you're a brand new starting Shire, and people are the key thing that you absolutely need. So that's my biggest advice, and just don't forget to have fun while you're setting everything up. That's another important thing. So as you can see, I decided to go outside and record my video today because it's still really nice out and I haven't really had a chance to enjoy it this week because I've been working late every day this week. It's supposed to be nice this weekend, but not nearly as nice, so I'm a little sad about that, but not much I can really do about that. But what I want to talk about this week is Star Wars. And that's for a few reasons, really. First reason, and the main one, is because I'm running a Star Wars game relatively, at some point in the near future, and probably next couple months, and I'm super excited to do that. I love that system. That's how I learned how to DM, was through that system, and I'm really, really excited to play with you, Theo, my buddy Brendan, Casey, and Taylor. I think it's just going to be really, really fun, and I really hope you all enjoy it. I did a little testing with Theo last night, and I'm going to be doing a little more with you tonight. But Theo really liked the system, and I'm excited. I think it's going to be really fun. I have a lot of cool ideas because it's taking place in the early Rebellion era, like before the Rebel Alliance really became the Alliance. So because the game is starting 8 years after Revenge of the Sith, so the Empire is the top dog right now. They have crushed every rebellion, and so there's very little hope for the galaxy, but that's something I really want to push in this game, is the duality between hope and loss, and how sometimes that loss leads to more hope. Because it's a story that's been done clearly many times, and it's going to be done clearly in the future far better than I'll be able to, but I think it's going to be a really good, fun time. I have some cool ideas, have some cool plans I've already made, and some cool ideas. I'm like, okay, so in the future I know this is going to happen, and I have, like, the first probably 4 or 5 sessions kind of, I guess, mentally mapped. Now granted, things can clearly change depending on what happens within the other sessions, but I have the map set in front of me, and I think that's going to be pretty fun. One thing that is definitely going to be a big thing is the fact that there are no Jedi around. That's one thing I really look forward to pushing, because the Jedi were, the hope and were the symbol of hope, and the symbol of the Republic. And when the Empire killed them all, exterminated the Jedi in the second, I think it was the second Great Jedi Purge is what it was called, then it completely changed the galaxy. And I think that's going to be kind of neat to play with the counter of the Jedi Purge, followed by the Imperial Era. And you guys are clearly this game's not going to go long enough to end up with the Rebellion winning in the end, because it's just, I'm not going to have a game that's going to, end up being 20 years, 15 years in game. I don't think that's going to happen. But, I'm looking to have several, probably 4 or 5 years within the era. Like, what I kind of think could happen would be the final session ends with the Death Star, with the first Battle of Yavin, when the Rebellion destroyed the Death Star. But that's still 10 years in the future. So that's I don't know. We'll see how the game goes. We'll see how people enjoy it. It could be a game that goes on for a long time. It could be a game that doesn't last too long. I'm not really set to make any firm predictions, but I think it's going to be fun, and I'm really excited. And it's part of the reason why I've actually dove into the Clone Wars, the TV series, and I'm going to jump into Rebels. I'm really trying to get through both of them before the Bad Batch comes out. And if anything, I will definitely watch. I'll watch all of Clone Wars and Rebels before the Bad Batch. So even if I don't finish it up before Bad Batch premieres, I'm not super worried about it, because I can just binge it later. And I'm more excited for Bad Batch than I thought I would be when I was just doing a little bit of looking into it. One of my favorite games that you've seen me play on YouTube before is Republic Commando, and I really think the Bad Batch is going to be the closest thing to a Republic Commando series that we'll have, and I think that's going to be pretty I think it's good. I think it's gonna be pretty. I think it's gonna be a good show. I'm excited to see it. I know it's gonna be more animation. I know that Fennec Shand from The Mandalorian is gonna be in there, and I think she's a great character. So I'm really curious to see where that's going to go with that. And what I really hope to see is in the Legends Continuum, about half of the commandos, Republic commandos, and all of the ARC troopers, all deserted because they had a lot more. They had a lot more individualism than the rank and file troopers did. And I'm excited to see what they're going to go with that, because I know the Clone Wars retconned some of that and made it so there was the clones had a chip in their brains that caused Order 66. But I'm excited to see how it's going to go with because back in the Legends Continuum, the ARCs deserted, many of the commandos did because they had that individualism and they didn't want to exterminate the Jedi. So I'm curious to see where it's going to go, and I really, what I'm kind of hoping to see is, we see a lot of, Rebel Alliance, things like that throughout the expanded universe, throughout the lore. But we don't really get a lot of on the ground, like these people are witnessing it from a ground distance, from on the ground distance instead of above ground. Because the Jedi are always a little bit above ground. The Jedi represent more than, just what a rank and file troop would. But I think the Bad Batch has the ability to really show what it was like for people on the ground during the Purge and the time immediately afterwards. So I'm excited. I'm curious. I'm cautiously optimistic because I've had issues with some of the animations before, predominantly Clone Wars, but I've really grown to enjoy Clone Wars a lot more, like, despite its faults. But I think it's going to be pretty good, and I'm really hoping it is. I hope it meets my expectations. So Tony, my question for you is, are you going to watch The Bad Batch when it comes out? Tony? I'll talk to you in a few minutes, but I'll see you on Monday. Later, bro.